Okay, so this is a test route, or a potential test route, I should say, that you could take on your practical driving test. Clearly, it's not going to be an actual test route carried out in High Wycombe. That would be unethical. But this is basically showing you what you would encounter on a typical test route. So this is starting off from the test station at High Wycombe, and we proceed out onto the road. So mirrors centre and right indicate right, just to make sure it's safe. Clearly this is a Sunday afternoon, so the gates are shut and there's nobody around this industrial estate, but you still need to do it anyway. And then centre and right mirror for the new road when you come out. Lots of driving instructors around this afternoon, because as I said, this is the actual test station area, so they're all going to be bringing their pupils around this area. So you've been told to come up to the end of the road and turn left. So it'd be centre and left mirror check, indicate left, and gently come up, following the road round to the left and starting to look to the right, making sure it's safe and clear. So we're going to come up to a roundabout, and the next thing you've been told is to turn right at the roundabout. So centre and right mirror check, indicate right, gently coming up, starting to look early, right and left to see if anything's coming. Hopefully I've set up one of the cameras so you can see what's happening to the right of me. Just waiting for a gap, but also looking to the left as well for any blockers that might come through. So after this grey car, hopefully I can carry on round. Just touch the edge of the actual roundabout itself rather than go over the top of it. And new road, central right mirror check. Again, you'll be looked at by the examiner to make sure that you're doing all your mirror checks out on your practical test. We've been told to turn left first exit at the roundabouts ahead. So centre and left mirror check, indicate left, checking the zebra crossing, looking to the right to make sure it's safe, nothing doing a U-turn, and then coming out onto the new road, checking my centre and right mirror again to make sure it's safe. We've been told to proceed down the road. So as always, if you're told nothing else, you go ahead on a practical driving test. And if you're going ahead and there's two lanes, you would always use the left-hand lane. Check my mirrors just to make sure it's safe and nobody's coming up very quickly behind me. And then I'll just wait until the lights change. Just check my mirrors all around, making sure there's no one around that's going to cause me a problem. Looking for motorbikes, looking for bicycles, pedestrians that may cross in front. Just keeping a general awareness of what's going on. Hopefully we won't be waiting here too long. I can see some pedestrians coming up on the left. Hopefully they won't cause me a problem. So we're about to start off, checking my mirrors again just to make sure it's safe. And we'll be proceeding down the hill. So as we can see, it's a 40-mile-an-hour speed limit here, so you should try to reach the speed limit if it's safe and clear to do so. Don't dawdle around going down here at 20 miles an hour if it says 40 and there's no reason that you can't do 40, so make progress when you can. So on this particular road you must be careful, because the road speed limit changes halfway down the hill to 30. So when that happens, I will check my centre and right mirror and make sure I'm at 30 when I actually go through the 30-mile-an-hour sign. So now the examiner has told me to turn right at the roundabout at the bottom of the hill and go ahead at the second roundabout signposted for Beaconsfield. So because I've been told to turn right at the bottom of the hill at the first roundabout, I'm going to check my mirrors, indicate, come over, making sure I check over my blind spot to make sure it's safe, and then indicator off once I'm over here, checking my mirrors again to make sure nobody's too close behind me. So because I'm turning right, when the road changes black to sandy. Check my central right mirror, indicate right. Coming up to the pedestrian crossing, just checking both sides. That of course is 2 pedestrian crossings, not 1. But certainly if someone was coming up close to the centre of it, I would give way. Don't sit on a pedestrian crossing. Make sure you can clear it before you go over it. So just checking centre and right mirror again as we come up, and then looking to the right and left for blockers, right and left for blockers. So a nice little car there is blocking anything like coming round. So that's the first roundabout, mini roundabout, so you don't have to give a leaving signal to come off a mini roundabout. So now we're going to go ahead at the next roundabout, watching this pedestrian actually on my right. So looking to the right now for any cars that are going to cause me a problem on the right. So there's a blocker coming round there, so I'm going to take that blocker. No need to indicate to come off. And proceeding down the road, we've been told nothing, so we're going to go ahead. Checking the lights, they've been green for a long time now, so they could change to red. Anticipate that they could go. So I was halfway through the junction, so just simply carry on through. In fact, the car behind me went through when they could have stopped. So checking the pedestrian crossing ahead, looking at my mirrors, no pedestrians there. The button's not lit as red, it's not got a wait sign on it, so we knew those lights weren't going to change. Carrying on through, keeping at the speed limit, 30 miles an hour on this road of course. Continually checking my mirrors just to make sure I know what's going on around me. Keeping nicely in the centre of this lane. It's not a particularly wide one, so central position is a good position to take up. And we've been told to turn left at the next roundabout, first exit. So checking my centre and left mirror, halfway across this junction, indicating left, checking the pedestrian crossing to make sure it's clear, looking ahead at the roundabout to make sure no one's coming round, and I'm just going to carry on straight through. Pedestrian crossing in front of me, so I can just carry on through that, no problem at all. And just checking my mirrors for the new road to make sure it's safe and clear. And just going to proceed up the road now. Been told nothing, so again, if you're told nothing, it's ahead at all times. And continue up the road doing just under 30 miles an hour, which is a good speed to be going at. And then checking my mirrors, centre and right, to come out, just to make sure that it's safe for me to come out from those parked cars. We're going to be going ahead here, so again checking the mirrors, stop at the first line so we don't go into the bike reservation, and we'll just wait there. Just continually checking around me to make sure it's safe, no pedestrians and it can all cause me a problem, no cyclists, no motorbikes. Continue to look at the lights to make sure. And so now we're going to go, but we're going to have a quick glance right and left at the crossroads just to make sure no one's crossing that on a red light that will cause me a problem. Again, been told nothing, so just going to proceed ahead. Then centre and right mirror to come out again from the parked cars. Remembering of course that you will be pulled up on the left hand side of the road several times. I will just say to you, pull up on the left hand side of the road in a safe place. So it's a question of finding a safe, legal and convenient place to pull up. So I've been told nothing again, so ahead at all times. Mini roundabout coming up, just checking on the right to make sure it's safe and ahead. Another mini roundabout, again we're going to go ahead, looking to the left this time and ahead, no problems there. Touch the side of the roundabout again, come out, centre and right mirror to come out from the parked car, and then centre and left mirror to come in from the parked car. Continuing down the road. I'm watching the cyclist now. Carried on round, and we've been told to turn right at the lights ahead. So centre right mirror check and indicating right on approach. And stop at the stop line. So we are going to turn right, and then we've been told to turn immediately left. So carried on through now, just checking both sides to make sure it's safe. And then centre and left mirror indicate left. And then we've been told to pull up on the left hand side of the road, so pulling up on a raised curb, handbrake on into park. So we've been told to pull off again, centre right mirror check to make sure it's safe to come out, indicating right and pulling off. Watching the car ahead to make sure it's not going to cause me a problem. And then we've been told to go ahead at the roundabout ahead. So gently coming up, very closed roundabout this time, so I'm going to come creeping up to it, edge out to make sure it's safe and clear. Car coming from the right, which you may be able to see, so I'm going to wait for that one to go past. Continually creeping out now, and once I'm happy, just go straight across. Then we've been told to turn left at the end of the road. So centre and left mirror check, indicate left. Bringing the car round, following the curb, looking to the right and left. No need to particularly stop there because obviously it was a give way. On your practical test you'll be asked to do one reversing manoeuvre. Obviously we're not going to be doing that today because this is just following a typical test route. You could be asked to do one reversing manoeuvre, a pull up close to a car and then pull off at an angled start. That is in a sense another manoeuvre, and you may be asked to do an emergency stop. So we've been told to turn right, so mirrors indicate right. Gently coming up, keep looking right and left to see what's going on. Checking my mirrors as well, just to make sure it's safe all the time. Just being genuinely aware of my surroundings. So new road, new mirrors again, so we know what's going on behind. Watching what the other people are doing, plenty of room to get through there. Going to get it a bit tight on this one if he starts to come out. But he has waited, so that's fine. Got to be careful now, slowing the car down, going over the brow of a hill in the middle of the road. I can't see anything, so just going with extra caution. Checking my mirrors all the time, and checking the mirrors to come out and mirrors to come back. Easy round the junction, making sure it's safe and clear. And keep it on my side of the road. Gently coming down, easing round the bend. Being aware of my speed, keeping it reasonably close to the curb but not touching. Can get a lot of people cutting the edge of that corner off there, trying to make it round coming up the hill. Again, don't let your speed run away with you going down a hill. Make progress when you can, but don't go mad. And if it's not appropriate, don't go at 30 miles an hour or whatever the speed limit is. There may be reasons why you shouldn't. Checking central right mirror to come out. We've been told to turn left at the end of the road. So central left mirror, indicate left. Gently braking coming up to the end of the road. Easing it down. Gently braking for the 9. No heavy braking at all. And then just looking to the right and the left. Even though it's a Sunday afternoon, fairly busy on the main roads. So when I come out, always new road, new mirror. Being careful of pedestrians all the time, even though they do tend to wander out into the road sometimes. We've been told to go ahead of the next 2 roundabouts. Looking right and ahead, right and ahead. Again, being aware of my surroundings. Checking the mirrors on approach. Bear slightly to the right on this one, there's no right hand turn. Checking the pedestrian crossing, nobody coming, so I'm going to take that just close to the roundabout. And again, just checking my mirrors to make sure it's safe. And we're coming up to a main roundabout now. And we're going to go ahead, second exit, signposted town centre, so it has got a right hand exit, so approach on the left, and no indicator on approach of course. We're going second exit, come round the outside, mirrors central left, indicate left, and come nicely, check the pedestrian crossing, and nicely into the new road. And then just checking my mirrors again to make sure what's going on around me. So nothing said again at the moment, so we're going to proceed ahead. Check my mirrors, gentle braking. So if it is safe to actually stop at a red light, then you should actually make every effort to stop. Remembering of course that amber actually means stop. You should already be stopped when it goes to red. If it's going to be an emergency stop though, when you're proceeding to the junction, then by all accounts it's probably best to go through. So watching these pedestrians on my left, making sure it's safe and clear. And gently coming round. And we've been told to turn right at the next roundabout, following signs Aylesbury A40 West, so mirrors centrum right indicate, keep checking my mirror, and shoulder check right, come to the right hand side, indicator off briefly. So I've got to be careful on this roundabout now, because the actual main traffic lights that operate the roundabout were taken out last week. So they've put temporary lights in for the pedestrian crossing and give way signs in for the roundabout. So it operates like a normal roundabout. But most people are thinking that the pedestrian crossing lights are actually part of the roundabout lights. So you have to come up here and give way to the right. Very awkward little manoeuvre now because people are flying everywhere. So we're going to come over to the right hand lane here. This is a spiral roundabout. Get into the correct lane at the beginning. It spirals you to the lane that you want at the end. And mirrors indicate left now to make sure it's safe. And once we're into the junction, indicator off. So now you can see we're following signs Aylesbury A40 West. We're in the correct lane. Checking my mirrors on approach, checking the left mirror now just to make sure no one's using the left hand lane incorrectly to go ahead, and then carrying on through. And coming up to a different style of roundabout now. This is called a roundel. It actually has no give way lines on it, so that means people approach it a little bit slower than normal. So coming round, we're going ahead because obviously we've been told nothing else, and coming round again, and we'll be proceeding through the traffic lights. So just checking my mirrors, noting I don't get any closer than roughly half a car length away from the car ahead of us. Don't want to get too close in case there's a problem, a rollback or a breakdown. Again, lights have been green for a long time, go with caution. Keeping a good distance away from cars ahead. And we've been told to take the next turning on the left. So central left mirror check, indicate left. Gently round. Keep it on my side as much as I can. Checking the mirrors, new road, new mirrors. Coming down. Going to be about a metre away from any parked cars. Central left mirror to come back over. And coming back round, we've been told to turn left at the end of the road, so mirrors indicate left. Checking to the right and left, no problems, so I'm going to proceed out. And then we're going to come up to double mini roundabouts. We've been told to turn right, following signs Cressex M40 Marlow. So mirrors, centrum right, indicate right, and actually in fact it's ahead of the first and right of the second, but don't want to confuse people as to what you're doing. Looking to the right to make sure it's safe. Just touch the roundabout, don't drive over the roundabout, that would be a bad thing on test day. Sometimes it's impossible to go around them, but make every effort. Again, tyres and tarmac, bottom of their tyres where they reach the tarmac, sitting on top of the dash. Checking the pedestrian crossing, of course. And keeping a reasonable distance away from the car ahead. Checking every junction to make sure no one's going to jump out in front of me at all. Carrying on through. Checking to make sure it's safe everywhere. Central left mirror to come back into the left. Keep it at 30 miles an hour coming up the hill. Again, making progress when I can. but clearly don't want to break the speed limit. Likewise, if you were doing about sort of 20 miles an hour up this hill, you wouldn't really be wanting to do that, because you'd be failing to make progress. If there was something a bit slower in front of you, like a slow bus or something in front of you on a hill that was safe to actually overtake on, then do try to safely go past it, because you may well fail your test if you don't. If it was safe and clear to go past something and you just stuck behind the car thinking it was all nice and safe that you'd just sit there to the end of the test, then regrettably that wouldn't end well for you. So we're going to come up shortly to a roundabout, checking my mirrors, checking that junction on the left, checking the central left mirror to come back, and we're going to come up to a roundabout now that we are going to turn right at. So centre and right mirror check indicate right at this moment in time, and looking to the right and ahead, bit of a closed roundabout this one. Just touch the paint and come round, and we're going to be taking the next turn on the right. So centre and right mirror check, checking ahead to make sure I can cross in time before that car gets to me. Central right mirror check, then we're coming back down the road to the test centre at the bottom of the road here. Bit of a bumpy road this one. Quite often do an emergency stop down this road now, in actual fact. And we'll end back where we started, right by the test centre. So that's it, folks. A practical driving test, not necessarily an actual test route, but something that you'd just pick up going around on a normal test, everyday test. So yeah, hopefully that's been of interest to you. Thanks very much for watching. If you can subscribe, that'll be fantastic.